Hello. Today's meme that I'm going to discuss was posted by Liz Lenz, and it reads, Republicans. So who cares if people die? We have to save the economy. Let them die. Also Republicans. Abortion is murder. Now, I've chosen this one because it really stuck out to me today living in Russia. Because one of the things that is clear in this meme is levels of hypocrisy and the intense hypocrisy of right-wing commentators. Every time you see something, it will be someone wailing about something that they disagree with but are guilty of themselves. There are countless examples we can call to, like everything that Fox News has ever said about Trump and Obama. If they've ever had the same issue to face, their coverage has been utterly contradictory. The British government, the British Conservative government, is guilty of this all through 2019. Everything that Jeremy Corbyn said was vilified as outrageous, expensive, communist nonsense. And then they go and propose the exact same thing, and the Daily Mail will defend them, and the Telegraph will defend them, and most newspapers defend them. They're guilty of this because they're owned by billionaires who will always make these arguments. But I particularly chose this one today because I live in Russia, and here this sense of hypocrisy is not so prevalent. And by that I mean, for example, Trump has been proposing a universal basic income. Boris has been suggesting a universal basic income. Not enough, obviously. The relaxing of mortgage payments to help people has completely neglected all renters and people getting their pay subsidized through their work. It ignores freelance workers, and of course it's ignoring the people who need help the most. But here in Russia, this is not happening, and it's desperately needed. Yesterday, Putin announced that all non-essential businesses next week will close, but this has not been made law. So my friend who works in a retail company is not going to stay home from work. She is going to work 4 days with a reduced salary on already low wage because the store has to stay open or it will go bust. And the government that steals billions from Russians are doing as little as possible to help. Peter Pomerantsev covered this really well in his book, Nothing is True and Everything is Possible. He focuses on the amount of disinformation that comes out of Russia, but it also covers things like the corruption, because one of the key reasons for the disinformation is not just to destroy Western democracy, though of course they would benefit from that as an ideological feat, but it's the purpose of disinformation is to mentally exhaust people. You have to spend so long working out what is true that you don't have the energy to do anything with it if you even find it. And this is how Russia manages to get away with its rampant corruption. I remember hearing a couple of Christmases ago, every Christmas or every New Year for Russian celebration, every winter holiday, the center of Moscow is full of lights. And so many people will say, oh, isn't it beautiful? Won't I look good on Instagram in this photo of this light sculpture in Gorky Park or walking down the boulevard under a canopy of lights, and they started making these small tree sculptures made of lights. And one person told me that each of these was being built for 1 million rubles, which is 13,000 US dollars, 11,000 rubles, for a plastic tree with fairy lights on. Because well over half of that is just being taken by an official who signed off on this project. This is apparent, and everyone in Russia knows all about this. But they're so exhausted by the sheer amount of it that there's nothing you can do. You don't know what is true and what's not. You spend all of your mental energy working out what is true. You're left with no energy to actually fight this problem. And so now, my friend working in a retail job will have to go in because the government will do nothing to help. The work of Masha Gessen is really good at exposing some of the worst accusations against Putin, because if you add up the number of things he has been accused of to the point of worthy of investigation, he has stolen tens of billions of dollars worth of assets from the Russian people. And now, through this very neoliberal, conservative mindset, very little pensions, very little for wages, no benefits, hate for homeless people and desperate people, still way, way behind most advanced countries in treatment of disabled people. There's a denial of the human rights of disabled people because of the stigma that's attached to disability. And so Putin is doing nothing. Trump has his checks for some people, and other countries are doing certain things. And here, there is none of this hypocrisy, because with hypocrisy, you use two sides of the same argument. And in Russia, it's one side, and it's scary. It's scary how little compassion there is for the neediest people. My friend is not the neediest person, but she does not get paid enough to get through this without some sort of assistance from somewhere. And for me, that's what a government is for. That is their purpose. People vote for Putin to protect them in times like this. People pay taxes for hospitals, which should have enough respirators, for benefits that will help them if they're in dire straits, and it's reaching a point across the world where this is dire. So I shared this meme because it really spoke to me about some of the major flaws in right-wing thought in America in this case, but the same applies for Britain. They're basically the same political environment at the moment. But living in Russia, I felt that this one was actually something that showed a difference between our countries. So many things show the similarities between back home in Britain and here home in Moscow. This one showed the difference. There are still plenty of examples of this hypocrisy, but in terms of saving people, this meme is pretty accurate. This is just what they believe. It's not a question of hypocrisy, it's a question of we want to control you and we will let you die if necessary. Thank you, Liz Lenz, for sharing your meme, and thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe if you took anything from this that you feel is worthy of a click of a button, or if you'd like to hear more.